Good morning, everybody. We're going to talk about surveys today, and what we're going to start with is several reasons why it's a terrific idea for your business to send customer feedback surveys or make customer feedback surveys available to your customer base. And then we're going to dig a little deeper into all of those reasons and provide some tips for executing effective customer feedback surveys. And then we're going to spend some time with some Q&A. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. How many of you in the last year or so have sent a customer feedback survey to your customers? Raise your hand. Oh, good. We have so much ground to plow. That's awesome. Such an opportunity, missed opportunity for all of you. So since 3 people raised their hand, I'm surprised that it's that few, frankly, but I was going to ask why you did it. We'll just dive right into why, right? It's interesting. Here at e4e, we talk about run, grow, live. And if we were to just boil it down to why you want to do customer surveys, it's to run, grow, live. You're going to run your business more efficiently. You're going to grow your business more quickly. And doing those things will generate greater confidence, will generate less wasted time, will generate just all of the things that allow you to minimize your stress, increase or improve your leisure work balance, all that stuff that we talk about for improving your life. So we're going to dig into greater detail about why. Right here, I'm going to give you a few reasons. Operating the business more efficiently. That's really what we were talking about when we say run. That's one reason to do these surveys. Secondly, improving customer retention. That's a key benefit to doing customer surveys. Also, acquiring new customers or marketing and selling better, but customer retention is really a key benefit for doing surveys. Prospecting for upsell and cross-sell opportunities. What we mean by upsell is getting a customer to buy more of the thing. What we mean by cross-sell is getting customers to buy those other products and services that you offer. And you have great opportunities to prospect for your upsell and cross-sell people, the opportunities by using surveys. Identifying referral champions. Who are the people who are most interested in spreading the word about your business? Customer surveys will help you sniff those out. And finally, gathering marketing fodder. Your marketing will improve if you use some of the feedback that you get in surveys that you send to your customers. So let's dig into each one of these things right now. So operating your business better. A few tips. Don't ask about everything. Focus. Keep the survey concise. So the idea here is before you create that customer survey, think about which of the benefits you're really going for. Is this a survey that's going to focus on improving operations or focus on identifying referral partners? It's okay. A survey can cover all of those things, but the longer the survey, the less likely it is that people will fill it out, and the more ground you try to cover, the greater that risk. So don't ask about everything. Keep it focused. Combine ranking scales. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think of such and such, or how likely is it that you will do such and such, with open-ended questions. The open-ended questions are not yes, no, give us a number 1 to 10. It's please elaborate, tell us what you mean. Those open-ended questions are critical for a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about in a moment, and it's those open-ended answers where you get the stuff that instructs your operations. Carve out time to analyze. It's the biggest mistake that I see with customers with businesses that send out surveys. They send the survey, and then they don't build in any time to look at the survey results and act on them. Build the time in before you send the survey. Because if you don't build the time in, you won't act on it. And if you don't act on it, all sorts of bad things are going to happen. Act on the feedback. There's nothing worse than, from a customer's perspective, than providing feedback, especially if it's constructive, negative feedback. If I give you constructive feedback, and then the sense I get is you weren't listening, you didn't care, all I think is, wow, you wasted my time and you don't care. Those are not feelings that you want your customers to have. So you have to act on the feedback. And finally, thank respondents, especially those who are your critics. If you get constructive feedback, thank them, tell them what you're going to do in response, and don't be afraid to say, thank you for the feedback, here's the reason we're not going to do the thing that you suggested. If operationally it makes sense not to do that thing that, if we did everything that our customers ask us to do and recommend that we do, our business would be all over the map and we'd make plenty of mistakes. But how many of you have been on the receiving end of that, where you've offered feedback and somebody has said to you, I appreciate your feedback, but here's why we're not going to do that. I've been on the receiving end of that, and I appreciate it greatly. They heard me. They're thinking about how to serve me and the business, and it's okay to say, good idea, but. People like it also when you say, good idea, we're going to implement the thing that you recommended. So that's for operations. Improving retention. First of all, a key concept in marketing is focusing on retention. It's a lot easier to keep dollars coming from existing customers, extract more dollars from existing customers through upsell and cross-sell, than it is to find a new lead, nurture the lead, move the lead through the sales funnel, get them to buy and to sell. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be focusing some part of your marketing effort on lead acquisition, but having a strategy around customer retention, which includes customer feedback surveys and the benefits those garner, is critical for you to continue to grow and improve your business. So asking, we talked about this before, merely asking, what do you think, builds bonds. People want to be asked. It builds bonds. Acting on that feedback, that builds champions, people who want to come back. And again, acting may not always mean we are going to do exactly what you recommended. It may be, we thought about what you recommended, and here's what we're going to do. That's still acting, and it builds champions. And combining action with please stay will rescue at-risk customers. One of the key things that we do, we focus a lot on retention with our surveys. We recognize those customers who are most at risk. We talk to them about what's bothering them. And then we very explicitly say, what is it that we can do to keep you? And we wish that you will stay. The primary reason, especially in B2B businesses, that customers leave is they feel like you're taking them for granted. So merely asking them and then engaging with them and saying, hey, stick around, will save a lot of customer relationships that otherwise would fade away. And that's the point that I was making before. If you ignore feedback, you kill retention. Prospecting, upselling. Okay, we have a new product or service, or we have a particular product or service we've had for a while and we want to grow in that area. Tell them about it in the survey. Don't tell them about every product and service. Again, plan why you're doing the survey. Focus on which areas you want to grow and focus on that in the survey, and don't be afraid to do a little marketing in the survey. Hey, we have this new product and service. Here are the benefits of that new product and service. Would you be interested in learning more? Yes or no? Or how likely are you to consider a product and service like this? 1 to 10. Same thing as before. Carve time for follow-up. It's amazing to me. We worked with a client recently who did this, who asked questions, and there were probably, as a result of this survey, 15 very qualified prospects for a significant upsell in this business. And they should have been on the phone with those people within moments, within days of getting the survey. They should have carved time to follow up. And instead, the survey was sort of collecting dust on the shelf. Cynthia looks very surprised. It's not surprising. It happens all the time. Yeah. Okay. Identify referral champions. How many of you know this book, The Ultimate Question? It's a good one, and it's sort of a business classic, and some people, it introduced the concept of the Net Promoter Score. And if you boil down to what is the ultimate question is, how likely are you to recommend our business to someone else on a 1 to 10 scale? And there's been some misinterpretation and misinformation that's grown out of this book. There are people who say your customer feedback survey should be 1 question, that question, period, the end. I don't recommend that. Okay. But what you can do with questions like how likely are you to recommend, which by the way you can zero in on particular aspects of your business, this service versus that service. What you can do is start by beginning to benchmark. Okay, where are we today? What kind of score are we getting on average? But what you're also going to be able to do is those people who say, I am extremely likely to recommend your business. I give you a 9 or a 10. Those people are potential referral champions, and they are people with whom you should follow up today. They said, we're likely to recommend you. Help them. Help them to recommend you. Ask for referrals, and this is just a general marketing tip that doesn't just apply to surveys. When you ask for referrals, don't just say, it sure would be helpful if you introduced us to people. Handhold. Provide scripts. This is an email that you might want to send to people. Here is the kind of business we want to do business with. Make it as easy as possible for the business to understand what they can do to help you, the referral champion. So use survey questions like that to identify the handful of people who would be willing to do referrals, and then ask for referrals. We could do a whole 20 minutes just on how to build a referral machine into your business, but those are some of the key points. And then gathering marketing fodder. Back to those open-ended questions. When somebody says, I really, really like you, and you follow up with open-ended questions, could you elaborate on your answer? Why not? Memo box. The stuff that comes from that is marketing gold. And so when we send surveys, it's really easy to scan those numbers. Oh, I got 9 here, and 6 here, and 7 here, and 8 there. It's a lot harder to scan the open-ended questions. You have to read. Takes time. But do it because you're going to find great stuff. And this, again, is a broad marketing tip. When you're looking for testimonials, part of what you need to do as a business in planning your marketing is anticipate the objections that prospects will have. What is it that they're going to say? Price might be an objection, or I don't have the resources to implement this might be an objection. Find those comments that answer the objections, because in your marketing, when a happy customer answers an objection, it is significantly more effective than you, the salesperson, answering that same objection, and that should become testimonials on your website. Thank the friendly respondents when they gave you great feedback. We already talked about thanking them. And then ask for permission. Don't be afraid when you say, hey, could I use this comment in a case study, or even build it into, as a testimonial, and then even build it into a case study. Ask them to elaborate, and don't be afraid to put words in their mouth and help frame the script. You don't want to tell them to say something they don't believe, but you could say, would it be fair to say that da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Yes, it would be fair to say that. May I quote you on that? And now you have the exact marketing message that you wanted to deliver. Questions? Am I doing it right on the timing, Mary? Am I in my 5-minute window now? Excellent. Andy, do we need a mic, Ted, for the questions?
You find there's an optimal number of questions to include so you're not too short or too long?
You know, what I would say to that is there's conflicting data on that question, and I've tried to find a good answer to that question. What I would say is when you build the survey, put in the time to draft. So make the survey, put it away for a little while, come back and make a commitment that I'm going to carve out some questions. And you'll kind of work your way toward what you believe are the critical things. And the reason that we started with why is a lot of times the surveys become unruly when you don't have clarity around what purpose you're trying to address with the survey. That also can happen when you don't survey often enough. So you don't want to survey every week or every necessarily even every month, but if you don't survey once a year or a couple of times a year, what happens is when you come around to surveying, you want to dump it all out there and ask a million questions, and it gets unruly. But make a draft, come back to it, carve out. I can send you some of the data on this, but it's conflicting and confusing. Let's start with Dale and then Dave.
Okay, in constructing the survey questions, when is it most beneficial to ask, like, would you be interested in, versus which of these would be of greatest interest to you? Can you speak to when it's appropriate to use each of those?
So I don't have supporting data on that question, and if you have an answer in mind, I'd be interested to hear your answer. We've tried it both ways, and I knew you had an answer to the question you were asking, Dale.
Well, I don't know if I have an answer. I have an opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think it depends on what you're trying to accomplish, because if it's a new offering and you want to fine-tune your marketing, then asking which of these rank these in terms of importance to you is going to help you develop a better marketing message.
Right.
If you're trying to determine whether or not they're a potential customer, then asking, you know, would you be interested in, and have them rank it that way. But that's just an opinion. I have no
and I think you're right about that. And we talked about customer retention, but improving your marketing message for customer acquisition and lead acquisition is a critical thing as well. I spoke to somebody yesterday who was doing surveying for a business-to-consumer business, and it was only in doing surveying and not being strategic in looking at this question that they realized that their repeat customers, not their first-time customers, but their repeat customers were 90% within a 5-mile radius. They asked this 5-mile radius question, or they asked a radius question, and that completely turned upside down the way in which they were marketing, where their target market was, what tactics they were using for their target marketing. So it's not exactly on point of what we talked about, but I wanted to emphasize that it's not all about customer retention. A survey can really deliver great insights for your lead generation marketing as well. Dave.
Are there certain platforms or websites that work best from the
perspective of both the one doing the survey and the respondent?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in message before platform. So the fact of the matter is that your surveys work or don't work not because you're using SurveyMonkey versus SurveyGadget versus Google surveys or so forth, but I named a few. So SurveyMonkey is a great tool. Google has a survey tool built into it, so get yourself a free Google account, and in fact, I think that a couple of the surveys we've done here at e4e have been with Google. I'm on the Zoho platform of business applications. They have a great survey engine, so there are a ton of great tools out there for doing it. But worry about message before you worry about platform. Yep.
Tom, excuse me. Tom, how do you get people interested in taking the time to complete the survey? And I'm thinking about, in my own experience, there's kind of two ends of the spectrum. One is, after you get done with the Microsoft help screen, it says, was this comment helpful?
Yeah.
And my only wish is that they had a square that says, not only was it not helpful, it was annoying.
Right.
That's,
So
that's, okay, so universal experience here, I think, okay?
Yeah.
The other is, when I've been totally blown away by the help or by the service, that I'm looking for a survey. I want to get back, I want to tell these people. You know,
well,
and so then I welcome it.
you answered your question. So the answer to the question, how do you get people to respond to your survey, is you establish a culture of being responsive. So you build into your brand, in your customer service, in the way that you deal with customers when you onboard them. We're here for you, we listen to you, we take your feedback, we care about you. This is not just a raw transaction. And if you establish that culture, when you send a survey, people are primed to offer feedback because they know there's going to be benefit in that trade. Microsoft and some of the giants have established a culture of, we don't really care what you say, but it's just sort of the routine to ask you for your feedback. And
every now and then you do see in a survey it says, help us get better.
Yeah, that's the big open-ended question. I'm out of time. I thank you very much for your feedback and for listening. I'll be here through the rest of the morning and be happy to talk to you later.